Hello, everybody. All right, we got week 2 academic slides. We are going to cover heart rate zones again, rate of perceived exertion, and the talk test. So this is going to be a super helpful slide for figuring out how hard you need to work and kind of what the expectation is in each of our classes. Okay, so first off, what are our heart rate zones? Okay, as you guys know, we are trying to track the intensity of your workouts, and we're doing this through the heart rate monitors. Okay, so that gray zone is the one that you guys are in as soon as you put your heart rate monitors on, 50 to 60% of your max heart rate. It should feel easy. You can do this for hours. Not super demanding. You're not going to really get out of breath. This blue zone here, this is your next step up. Okay, heart rate zone number 2, 60 to 70% of your max heart rate. Should still feel pretty comfortable. You could still do this for hours. Sometimes they call this the fat burning zone, but you have to do it for a long period of time in order for that fat to actually burn. So that's kind of a little myth there. The next one is our green zone. You're going to start breathing a little bit heavier. You might start sweating here. You're not going to be able to go as long as you would in that blue zone. But this one, we're starting to build up our endurance and our aerobic endurance a little bit harder here. Then we got our orange zone, 80 to 90%. Okay, this is where we're trying to hit in this class. Pretty often, you're going to try to feel fatigued. You're going to start breathing harder. Muscles are going to start feeling a little bit more fatigued than they would if we were just staying in that green zone. And then our red zone here, remember, you can only stay in this for like 1 to 5 minutes. We are not going to be in the red zone super often. And if we do, it's going to be like a minute or less at a time. Because again, this is like an all-out max effort. So those are our 5 zones, which you guys already knew. And now we're going to relate it to the rate of perceived exertion, okay, also known as RPE. So I'm going to talk about RPE a lot throughout the class, so make sure you know this. This is a scale from 0 to 10, and it's based on how difficult you think an activity or an exercise is. Okay, so for example, let's say I'm doing back squats, okay, and I'm really good at squatting. It's super lightweight, okay. I might say that the RPE scale for me to do that exercise was like a 2. Okay, I could do it all day. Super light. As you can see here, 2 also means you are in the gray zone. Okay, if I am not very good at squatting and the weight was super heavy, I might say it was like a 9 on the RPE scale. I maybe could have had 1 more rep in me, but probably not. Okay, so we are trying to stay in the green, orange, and red zone most of the time. So you should probably feel like your RPE scale is like a 5, 6, 7, or 8 most of the time. Where it's like, yeah, I pushed myself pretty hard. I couldn't have done too many more reps, maybe like 5 more reps. If you're doing something, let's say you're doing some curls, you feel like you could do 12 more reps, okay? Up that weight. We want to only have a couple left in the tank to push ourselves to get into this green, orange, and red zone here. Again, okay, 0, you could do it all day. If you say on the RPE scale and exercise was at 10, that was super hard, and you would be in the red zone probably. Okay, so if you're in the orange zone on your heart rate monitor, but then you tell me that it was like a 6 or a 4 or a 3, okay, maybe you weren't. Okay, another way to relate the heart rate zone, RPE, okay, is the talk test. This is my favorite test, as we talked about last week, with people complaining that maybe they weren't in the zone that they thought they should be. Okay, this is for you, so listen up. If you can answer a question in a full sentence, you're probably not in the zone that you think you are. Okay, and this is what I mean by that. If I asked you a question and you could answer in fluid sentences, you're probably in the gray zone. So when somebody comes up to me and they're like, I don't know why I'm not in the orange zone. I'm working really hard and I'm trying, but I'm talking to my friend and I'm doing this. Yeah, you're in the gray zone. Okay, if you come up to me, you can only say a couple words. Okay, then you got to stop and catch your breath. You might be in the green zone. Okay, but for those of you who come up to me and you can hardly say anything or it's 1 to 2 words at a time, now I'll believe that you're in the orange and the red zone. Okay, if you're speaking full sentences, I am not going to believe you. Okay, and your heart rate monitor is probably accurate. So know this chart and kind of use it to check yourself when you are doing these exercises. If you think you should be in a higher zone, maybe talk to yourself, talk to a friend and be like, okay, you know what? Maybe I'm not. And again, this is how we're tying them all together. Okay, we're saying the same thing 3 different ways with our heart rate zones, our RPE scale, and our talk test. Okay, so if the heart rate zones don't really make a whole lot of sense to you, okay, worry about the RPE scale, worry about the talk test, okay, and then relate it back to those zones so that when you're working out, it's relevant to you. All right, there you go.